Is there any chance we'll see Captain Marvel in the upcoming Avengers Doomsday?
Thank you for asking, and you know I can't answer.
they are so lock and key at Marvel.
Hi, Jeremy. This is Brie Larson, and I was just wondering, are you going to be in Avengers Doomsday?
Me? No, girl. Are you? What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on Avengers Doomsday. So as you know, Marvel has two big trailers dropping later this year, predominantly with Avatar, Fire and Ash being Spider-Man A Brand New Day, which they're currently shooting. Yes, they start VFX as soon as they start shooting, and they've been filming Spider-Man Brand New Day for such a long time. Also, we're getting a trailer for Avengers Doomsday with Avatar that comes out in December, so this movie is going to bang. So the strangest, most weirdest rumor has come out about Brie Larson not appearing in Avengers Doomsday. Now, we're going to go over where this rumor came from, but this rumor makes absolutely no sense because Brie Larson is the only person that knows Monica Rambeau has caused an incursion, and she's literally the bridging gap to finding where this incursion is. And you know the whole X-Men versus the New Avengers versus the Fantastic Four, that sequence, Captain Marvel is going to tell everyone where the freaking hell she is. And also in the news, talking about the same thing, is Brie Larson was recently asked on a talk show, are you going to be returning as Captain Marvel in Avengers Doomsday? And she said, thanks for asking, you know I can't answer. Now, if Brie Larson had nothing to do with Marvel ever again, like certain people are starting to insinuate, do you not think she'd be like, nah, I'm not in it? Do you not think she would do an Andrew Garfield? No, I'm not in it. Not only that, she's literally been in London most of the time they've been filming, right? Which isn't much evidence. But also, Jeremy Renner recently asked her a question. Well, she asked Jeremy Renner a question. Jeremy Renner, are you returning as Hawkeye in Doomsday? And he's like, me? No, girl, are you? But Jeremy Renner was also in London and in contact with the Avengers team, who he's been in previous movies with, whilst they were filming. So there's a good chance that Jeremy Renner Hawkeye is also going to appear in Avengers Doomsday. So, where did this rumor actually come from? Well, it come from a YouTube channel called Nerdrotic. There is no Brie Larson Captain Marvel in Avengers Doomsday. And someone said, what about Iron Heart? No. So there seems to be this agenda that there's going to be no female characters because Brie Larson hasn't officially been confirmed to be in the movie. Well, there's a lot of other people who haven't. So we know Pedro Pascal's definitely in the movie. Tessa Thompson is also in the movie. But it's interesting to me how Nerdrotic comes out randomly, says that she's not in it, when she's recently just said, I can't say anything in a huge-ass TV interview. Nerdrotic's claim, however, suggests otherwise. If true, it would mean Larson's Captain Marvel is being sidelined entirely after years of inconsistent appearances across Marvel. Now, this is weird because the Marvel's post-credit scene, where we see Rambeau getting stuck in the X-Men universe with Beast and Binary, played by the same actor, but it's not really the same thing. It's interesting because, like I've said in the prologue, that Marvel scene is literally bridging the relationship gap between her and Monica Rambeau, who's an X-universe. What is also interesting is the most credible, most reliable scooper in the game at the moment is James Mack. And he quote tweeted Geeks and Gamers quote where it says Nerdrotic claims She-Hulk and Captain Marvel will not appear in the Marvel Avengers. Now, She-Hulk with Tatiana, that's a bit different because she publicly just went at Disney and told everyone to cancel their subscription. So her role could be axed, although she actually was in the concept art, the official concept art from the Marvel Arvis that leaked about Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. He says, I'm laughing so much at this. Now, it blows my mind how such an important character as Captain Marvel is not going to be in the movie. Although, why do you think the Marvel's director was recently in London? The Russos love continuity, right? Why do you think recently the Marvel's director, who hasn't had anything to do with Marvel, was recently in the UK at the same time that Brie Larson was also in the UK? Tatiana Paris was also filming in the UK. for a scene that James Mack did talk about, but the Marvel's director was also there. This is what like make it make sense. So the Marvel's director said, I still have a good relationship with the people. Kevin Feige wrote me a letter for my visit to the UK. So Tatiana Paris was in this scene. So was Letitia Lynch, Kelsey Grammer, Patrick Stewart, and another X-Men surprise. So Captain Marvel's also going to be in this movie big time, lads. I mean, I'm not saying Nerdrotic is wrong, but there's so much indication that she's in this movie. If she's not allowed to answer if she's in the movie, she could just say no, because even if she said no, people wouldn't believe her. But for her to say, I can't answer that question, tells you she's in the movie. Now, she was going to be the face of Marvel. I get it, because you had to go watch Marvel's, obviously Captain Marvel 1 in between Infinity War and Endgame, and that movie banged $1 billion. And then the sequel barely broke like $300 million. I get it. Marvel were a bit mistruthful there, and I get it. Marvel's going back to the kind of the mantra where let's just have characters that are important. There's no point bringing characters in for the sake of it. But Captain Marvel is actually quite a necessary character. She is one of the strongest Avengers, completely. And it's interesting how she asked Jeremy Renner, yo, are you in it? But in another interview, Jeremy Renner says he met the cast of Avengers Doomsday whilst he was in London. It was good to see everybody. We have a forever bond. So whether or they're not filming, we'll always be connected. So Jeremy Renner was basically saying that he's in the movie. Jeremy Renner teased Hawkeye could come out of retirement ahead of Avengers Doomsday. Until he's killed, he's always going to be working. So that is interesting. If you really think she's not in the movie, that is hilarious. Tatiana, who plays She-Hulk, now that's a very different story. Now, Nerdrotic also said that in the same sequences of tweets, but she went at Disney Plus recently and told everyone to cancel their subscription. So her scenario is very different. She's very outspoken. She's very out there. So if She-Hulk is in the movie, that doesn't really matter. But a lot of people seem to think she's definitely out of the movie, which I don't necessarily agree with, that she's out of the movie just because she went to Disney. You know, the likes of Mark Ruffalo has very strong political agendas that he pushes, and he still has a pretty centric role. But She-Hulk's most expensive streaming show was the one she did. It wasn't very popular. But again, there really isn't much to back it up, other than she was telling people to boycott Disney Plus, cancel their subscriptions. Something you don't often hear from one of the company's stars. As reported earlier, she told fans to cancel due to the Jimmy Kimmel controversy and all that kind of stuff. So it is interesting. But either way, Captain Marvel is definitely in the movie. She's got a centric role. She's one of the strongest Avengers. She knows where Monica Rambeau is, which is the massive connective tissue to get to the X universe. Obviously, they can track with the Cerebral, like with Professor X and all this kind of stuff. But you've got to get to him first. Like Professor X can't track Maria, where Maria's already there. So it is interesting how this is all coming out. And I've seen it was going viral on Twitter. I don't understand why. It's just a random YouTuber's come out and said something, and the internet again has erupted. And this is the case where I always say, if you've got a big enough following, you can basically say whatever you want and people will believe you. Nerdrotic's a very big YouTuber, but that doesn't mean he's right. I don't think he is, because Brie Larson's like, yeah, I can't answer that. And then when Jeremy Renner threw the question back onto her, he's like, no, girl, but are you? It's interesting because they're both in the movie. And it's funny because she's got to be in this movie. At least she's got to be in this movie. She also has short hair at the moment, which is actually her look that we see her right at the end, you know, where she's carrying the gauntlet is it in-game? But it's interesting because the incursions happening between Monica and where Monica is and the 616 are true. Captain Marvel has to be in the Avengers, and she will be fighting the X-Men to rescue her friend, aka Monica. So of course she's in this movie. And by the information recently, the director of the Marvels was there, Tatiana Paris was there, apparently Brie Larson was there. She's definitely going to be there. Definitely going to be in this movie. So it's hilarious. She's literally got the same haircut. She usually has long hair, but now she's got her Brie Larson Captain Marvel look. I don't even know how people believe. This is what I mean. Like, it's like a random Twitter scooper with like 100 followers could say something, and then videos. And I've seen this all over TikTok, all over Instagram, all over YouTube. So I wanted to cover it because I find the whole thing kind of fascinating. Because Captain Marvel, even if you don't like Brie Larson, She is so important to this movie. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. Check us out on Instagram at Warstu. Check us out on TikTok. We are like 7 followers away from 1,000. And also, I will try my best to cover more Marvel, more DC, and more Monsterverse stuff, and other pop culture stuff. So, guys, thank you very much for checking out this video. Future Warstu here. Whilst editing this video, I came across a picture of Brie Larson's stunt double at the Avengers Doomsday wrap party, and she stunt doubles for Brie Larson. So there is a lot of evidence that Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, has a pinnacle role in this movie. So like always, guys, I'll catch ya in another video very soon, guys. Catch ya later.